So, in 1811, C.F. left his family's home in Markneukirchen, Saxony, for the bustling city of Vienna, Austria. There he landed an apprenticeship with Johann Stauffer, one of Europe's most famous makers of guitars, violins, and cellos. Young C.F. did very well at the Stauffer workshop. He quickly rose to the position of foreman, learning not only how to make guitars, but also how to run the business. After 14 years with Stauffer, Christian went to work for a harp builder, Karl Kula, also of Vienna. Kula's musical daughter, harpist and singer Ottilia Lucia, caught Christian's eye, and the two were married in 1825. After the birth of their son, Christian Friedrich Jr., C.F. and Ottilia decided to return to the Martin home at Markneukirchen. C.F. thought he would set up his own guitar-making shop there. What should have been a joyous and exciting time was marred instead by a nasty feud between local cabinet makers and violin makers. The Martin family and most other area guitar makers belonged to the Cabinet Makers Guild. The Violin Makers Guild was trying to stop cabinet makers from producing musical instruments, claiming that only members of the Violin Makers Guild were artists of a cultured taste, capable of crafting fine musical instruments. Cabinet makers, the Violin Makers Guild announced, were nothing more than mechanics who should stick to building furniture. Who is so stupid that he cannot see at a glance that a grandfather's armchair or a stool is no guitar? The Violin Makers Guild asked. The cabinet makers defended their right to build musical instruments, pointing out the long guitar-making history of the Martins and others in the area. A respected instrument salesman publicly reminded the violin makers that while in Vienna, Christian Friedrich Martin had produced guitars which, in point of quality and appearance, left nothing to be desired and which marked him as a distinguished craftsman. All of this squabbling was not the life C.F. wished for his new family. He wanted to be free to build his guitars and provide for his wife, son, and new baby daughter. Sadly, it didn't seem he could do that within the guild system of his homeland. So, in 1833, the C.F. Martin family left Germany for the United States. The Martins made the long journey across the Atlantic Ocean. They landed at New York City, where another guitar maker from Markneukirchen, Heinrich Schatz, had arrived 2 years earlier. By the end of 1833, C.F. had Americanized his name. Friedrich became Frederick, and opened a full-service music store on Hudson Street. Though he sold his handmade guitars at the shop, about one guitar a week, he also stocked everything from flutes and trombones to sheet music and violin bows. He offered instrument repair as well, and imported and sold instruments to other dealers. C.F. kept careful business records. In handwritten ledgers, he tracked his daily transactions. Bartering or trading goods and services instead of paying for them with money was common. Often, C.F. swapped musical merchandise for things he and his family needed, like clothes for the children, and sometimes his children used his ledger pages to practice their handwriting. Among the items that C.F. kept track of in his ledgers were Vienna screws. These were metal tuning pegs he imported from Europe. C.F. used them on the elegant curved headstock of his 1830s guitars. He placed all of the tuning pegs on one side of the headstock, a design he borrowed from his teacher in Vienna, Johann Stauffer. The Stauffer head was one of the things that made C.F. Martin guitars unique. C.F. also incorporated Stauffer's design for an adjustable neck, using a long screw that extended from the back of the neck into the body of the guitar. The neck could be moved closer to or farther away from the strings. In this way, the guitar could be adjusted to suit the musician's playing style. C.F. built all kinds of guitars